President Biden's national vaccine mandate for businesses with over 100 employees gets a January deadline. We have the details coming up.
And how one LA-based artist designed a memorial in Tucson for those affected by the mass shooting targeting Congresswoman Gabby Giffords.
Plus, a story broke accusing the Phoenix Suns owner Robert Sarver of racism, misogyny, and various inappropriate conduct. We'll have a reaction from the team.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Rudy Cavazos.
And I'm Raven Payne. Thank you for joining us. OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, is rolling out a new COVID-19 mandate. The mandate is receiving some backlash from Governor Doug Ducey and others in the state. Cronkite News reporter Nick Shesky is in the newsroom with more.
The new OSHA mandate says companies with more than 100 employees must require all employees to get vaccinated against COVID-19 or wear a mask in the workplace, along with testing for COVID-19 weekly. Jessica Post, the Employment and Labor Practice Group Director at Fenimore, expects there to be a mixed reaction from businesses to the mandate in Arizona, and even maybe some legal challenges in court.
I think some businesses have already put in vaccine mandates. I think some businesses will use the OSHA temporary rule as a justification for putting in a vaccine mandate that may have, a testing option. And then I do think there's going to be some businesses who, are going to resist it. And I would expect to see some legal challenges given the tenacity with which some people hold opinions on this.
Arizona Governor Doug Ducey released a statement today detailing his distaste for the mandate. In the statement, Ducey said OSHA regulations were meant to protect employees in Arizona and across the country from unsafe work conditions, not invade their private lives to implement mandates that address a danger not specifically tied to workplaces. The government is mostly relying on companies to self-enforce the rule. There will be a whistleblower system in which workers can report any violations in their workplace. And the penalties for these violations are severe. They can be upwards of over $13,000 per person. The deadline for workers to be fully vaccinated is January 4th. In the newsroom, Nick Shesky, Cronkite News.
Monday was the deadline for most Arizona hospital workers to get vaccinated or granted an exception. Now their vaccine rates are up. Banner Health said that 97% of their 62,000 employees are vaccinated. Dignity Health said that their employees are also complying with the vaccine policy, with 98% of employees vaccinated. Those who weren't vaccinated by the Monday deadline or given an exception were put on an unpaid leave and have until November 30th to comply or resign.
U.S. authorities detained more than 1.7 million migrants along the Mexico border during the 2021 fiscal year. Cronkite News reporter Samantha Bird tells us about the numbers in Yuma sector.
Apolonio Hezbollah left Brazil last month looking for a better life.
They have no money, no place to live, so they decide to come to America.
In San Luis Rio Colorado, Sonora, Mexico, Hezbollah crossed the border. Migrant cases like Hezbollah from Brazil are climbing. For the Yuma sector, 78.8% of encounters have been migrants from countries other than Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador.
We don't have those kind of agreements with like Brazil or Ecuador and countries like that.
This is the highest total number of migrants the Yuma Sector Border Patrol has seen since 2005.
In January, they were 56 a day. That was our average. February, it was 216 a day. In March, it was 399 a day. In April, it was 465. May, 399. June, 423. July, 484. All the way till now, where we're averaging 7 to 1,000 a day.
In total, 114,488 migrants have been encountered along the Yuma sector. And as for Hezbollah, this was not the end of his journey, but only the beginning.
I'm gonna stick around a little bit, call a family to buy a plane tickets for us because we go in Boston area, so it's kind of far away,
In Yuma, Samantha Bird, Cronkite News.
Since September 9th, 30,000 Haitians have arrived in Del Rio, Texas. The exact number for Yuma sector is unknown, but according to Customs and Border Protection, there was a big increase in migrants from Haiti and Brazil.
Tucson voters approved a proposition Tuesday to gradually raise the city's minimum wage to $15. About 60% of voters responded yes to Proposition 206. The initiative will gradually increase the city's minimum wage, starting at $13 an hour in April of next year. The minimum wage will be increased to $15 in 2025. Proponents of the proposition say the raise is long overdue to keep up with the cost of living in Tucson. Opponents say it creates a burden on business owners. Arizona's state minimum wage is $12.15 an hour.
A decade after the mass shooting that targeted Gabby Giffords in Tucson, an award-winning memorial now sits in the center of the city. Cronkite News reporter David Bloom caught up to the artist behind the memorial in Los Angeles.
The community came together to be able to embrace each other under such difficult and horrendous moment. The community came together in an embrace and embraced and held each other tight in the suffering. When you enter the memorial, it's two arms embracing. At the center is a pathway that really is the axis. You have the pools on one side and the other, and then you have the embrace, a pathway that then you walk down into the wall to be able to, again, it becomes a little bit like a temple. The noise recedes, and you enter a quiet space of meditation.
Recently, the Embrace was honored with the 2021 Collaboration of Design and Art Award for Public Spaces. Judges said the memorial transformed a haunting memory into a fluid, elevating, poetic experience.
For me, winning this award was a confirmation that public art can serve much more than sometimes just being an aesthetic sculpture or something, but it actually serves social issues and serves very, very pressing issues, especially around gun violence.
According to experts at the Gun Violence Archive, gun violence claimed 43,632 lives in America in 2020. One survivor, Pam Simon, spent a decade contributing her input to the project.
It was so important to me that the memorial symbolize and honor not just those of us that were injured, the victims, the families of the victims, but to honor how our community came together, the resilience of our community.
For now, the memorial offers a peaceful space to mourn and to heal. In Los Angeles, David Bloom, Cronkite News.
This award-winning memorial sits in the front of the Pima County Courthouse in Tucson.
Seizures and drownings are the two of the most common calls for pediatric emergencies. Coming up, how first responders stay up to date on training for these emergencies.
And after the break, the new degree programs that may be offered at Maricopa Community Colleges in 2023.
I was so excited when I learned that I was going to be the next moderator of Washington Week. I was incredibly lucky to be mentored by Gwen Eiffel, and what that gave to me was this confidence that I could be my full self and that I was deserving of whatever spaces I was in.
Welcome to Washington Week.
I also feel this great joy in taking the helm of Washington Week, knowing that I can mold it and make it my own, but also make sure that it is still within the legacy and the tradition that made it so great for all of these years.
Cronkite News is more than your local news station. Through our innovative ideas, we create new ways to connect with our viewers and have their stories be heard. Our cutting-edge technology allows us to take a deeper dive into seeking the truth and delivering new perspectives. Stay up to date on top Arizona stories anytime on TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook at Cronkite News.
When you support Arizona PBS, you plant a seed. Seeds that provide educational outreach in our community. Seeds that put our digital resources to work. Seeds that foster the trusted news coverage you expect from PBS. And seeds that continue the amazing PBS programs you love. But our garden can't keep growing without your support. Visit our website to see all the ways you can help our garden grow. Plant a seed with Arizona PBS today.
Your favorite member benefit is getting better and bigger.
This is wonderful.
Over the next year, Passport is adding new shows and doubling the number of episodes for you to stream.
They give us all that they've got.
From your favorite cooking and travel series.
Even the stairs are breathtaking.
To history specials and award-winning documentaries. Better and bigger.
That really is the fun part.
Stream on any device with Passport on the PBS Video app.
Seizures and drowning are two of the most common calls for pediatric emergencies. Cronkite News reporter Bella Hoffman shares more on an event hosted by Phoenix Children's Hospital for first responders to stay up to date on training for pediatric emergencies.
Pediatric 911 calls represent fewer than 5% of all emergency calls. This symposium was created to make sure that Arizona's first responders have the right knowledge and tools to provide life-saving care, especially for scenarios that require a different approach when it comes to children.
This event was made possible by a $250,000 grant from the Phoenix Suns.
Kids are they're kids, so they don't present exactly the same way, and every stage of development is differently. So, you know, a 3-year-old might have a vocabulary, but they might not be able to say that they feel short of breath or have difficulty breathing. They might say that their mouth feels funny or their tongue feels funny. They might use words that you're just less familiar with.
Continuing education, also known as CE hours, is a requirement for doctors, nurses, paramedics, and EMTs in order to maintain their certification. The Phoenix Fire Department requires 80 hours of various CE training per year. Educational training like this symposium counts towards that requirement.
We have over 200 firefighters from the Phoenix Fire Department here, and this is really a fantastic event. It's a really great example of a public-private partnership where we're able to get our EMTs and medics up to date on the latest and greatest in the field of pediatric emergency care.
Medical technology like the Stryker chest compression system can deliver high-performance chest compressions with less strain, micromanagement, and risk. Every second counts in an emergency. Phoenix Children's is proud to serve as the communication hub for pediatric emergencies, providing guidance to first responders in the field regardless of the patient's final destination. In Phoenix, Bella Hoffman, Cronkite News.
The emergency department at Phoenix Children's Hospital is verified as an advanced life support-based hospital for pediatrics by the Arizona Department of Health Services.
Maricopa Community Colleges announced its first program of baccalaureate degrees. Pending accreditation and governing board approval, they are expected to be offered as soon as fall 2023. The degrees range from early childhood education to information technology. Maricopa County Community Colleges say it plans to offer future bachelor's degrees in high-demand industries like nursing and respiratory care. The degree offerings are in line with recent legislation intended to allow Arizona's community colleges to fulfill workforce needs.
It's another beautiful sunny day here in Phoenix, and it looks like there's more warm days to come. Alyssa Stoney's in the Weather Center telling you what to expect in the coming days across the state.
Well, Christmas music may be back in those peppermint mochas, but it's not time for winter yet here in Phoenix. We are going to be at still our highs in the 90s for tomorrow in Phoenix and 90 down in Tucson as well. The northern part of our state is going to be seeing some warmer temperatures than they've been seeing lately, with 68 degrees in Flagstaff and 71 degrees out in Winter Rock. Taking a look at the rest of our country, the western part is going to be warm as well, with 77 degrees in El Paso, 71 degrees in Los Angeles, and then moving up to the 50s and 60s with 52 degrees in Seattle. Taking a look at the East Coast, they're going to be highs in the 50s as well, with 53 degrees in New York and 57 degrees in Atlanta. Looking at your evening for tonight in the Valley, we're going to be still at 83 degrees by the time the sun goes down and only dropping to 72 degrees by 10 p.m., so still a warm night out there. This weekend is going to be warming up with our high of 90 degrees on Saturday for ASU's game day. Kickoff is at 7 p.m., so those temperatures should be dropping a little bit as our low is 59 degrees. Next week, our temperature is going to be in the low 80s with 82 as our high on Tuesday, with some cloud coverage and similar temperatures throughout the next couple of days, and our lows remaining in those mid-50s. In the Weather Center, Alyssa Stoney, Cronkite News.
I'm Jack Johnson. Coming up after the break, I'll have your Cronkite Sports Report. Here's what we got on deck. We'll take you to Washington for a football game between police officers and members of Congress.
I was so excited when I learned that I was going to be the next moderator of Washington Week. I was incredibly lucky to be mentored by Gwen Eiffel. And what that gave to me was this confidence that I could be my full self and that I was deserving of whatever spaces I was in.
Welcome to Washington Week.
I also feel this great joy in taking the helm of Washington Week, knowing that I can mold it and make it my own, but also make sure that it is still within the legacy and the tradition that made it so great for all of these years.
Cronkite News is more than your local news station. Through our innovative ideas, we create new ways to connect with our viewers and have their stories be heard. Our cutting-edge technology allows us to take a deeper dive into seeking the truth and delivering new perspectives. Stay up to date on top Arizona stories anytime on TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook at Cronkite News.
When you support Arizona PBS, you plant a seed. Seeds that provide educational outreach in our community. Seeds that put our digital resources to work. Seeds that foster the trusted news coverage you expect from PBS. And seeds that continue the amazing PBS programs you love. But our garden can't keep growing without your support. Visit our website to see all the ways you can help our garden grow. Plant a seed with Arizona PBS today.
Your favorite member benefit is getting better and bigger.
This is wonderful.
Over the next year, Passport is adding new shows and doubling the number of episodes for you to stream.
They give us all that they've got.
From your favorite cooking and travel series.
Even the stairs are breathtaking.
To history specials and award-winning documentaries. Better and bigger.
That really is the fun part.
Stream on any device with Passport on the PBS Video app.
Hello and welcome back. I'm Jack Johnson with your Cronkite Sports Report. The bombshell story the Suns have been bracing for finally broke earlier today. ESPN released a lengthy expose on Robert Sarver, accusing the Suns owner of racism, misogyny, and various inappropriate conduct. The story quotes multiple people, with former coach Earl Watson as a main source. Suns Vice Chairman John Najafi released this statement earlier today, saying in part, quote, "The conduct he is alleged to have committed has stunned and saddened me and is unacceptable. I am personally committed to helping eradicate any form of racism, sexism, and bias, which is unacceptable anywhere in our society," end quote. Sarver released his own statement, calling the report false, inaccurate, and misleading. He goes on to say, quote, "Let me be clear, the N-word is not a part of my vocabulary." Sarver accused Earl Watson of creating an unprofessional and toxic atmosphere and says the former coach is not a credible source. And the NBA just announced they're launching an investigation into the Sarver allegations and the Suns organization. The Suns host the Rockets tonight at Footprint Center. Monty Williams is expected to address the media before tip-off. For the second year in a row, Phoenix Raceway is hosting the NASCAR Championship Cup Series race. Cronkite News reporter Ashlyn Register was on hand to talk to the Final Four drivers about the big race.
The NASCAR Championship race weekend has made its way to the Valley. The Final Four drivers are ready and prepared to take it to the track to compete for the Bill France Cup.
Hopefully make the right choices and, kind of tune in what we feel like will be the best. Obviously we set the car up and left the shop with what we feel like is the best to go line up and race. This is how we would line up and run the race if we didn't have any practice.
I know, Larson's won a lot of races, but I think across the board, it's every week you just never really know who was going to show up and who was going to show out. And we've seen a lot of guys really competitive that we haven't in the past, and I think we've seen a lot of guys that were, really competitive in the past being consistent, including us.
After 35 races, it comes down to one final race. It's Hendrick versus Joe Gibbs, and who will take the checkered flag? In Phoenix, Ashlyn Register, Cronkite News.
From the track to the field, trash talk in football is nothing new, but it's not often between police officers and members of Congress. But that was the scene at the annual Congressional Touch football game for charity. Cronkite News reporter Simon Williams has the story from our Washington bureau.
Although there were no members of the Arizona delegation playing tonight, there were still some familiar faces for Arizona sports fans. Former Arizona Cardinals #1 pick Ken Harvey, wideout John Booty, and linebackers coach Jen Welters suited up as player coaches for Team Congress, a.k.a. the Mean Machine.
1, 2, 3.
Harvey said post-game that this year, the year of the January 6th riot, the game is especially meaningful for all involved.
Both parties together, working the Capitol Hill police, they're having a good time. They had a tough couple of years. And so at the end, this is a success. We raised a lot of money for charity, and that's what we're here for.
Organizers turned Audi Field, the home of Major League Soccer's DC United, into a football field for the game. And they were proud of the collaborative efforts that made it all happen.
This is football at its best, and it's happening in November. There's a little chill in the air, real football weather, so we're excited to play a part and support this event.
The Capitol Hill police got ahead from the jump when they snagged an interception and finished the drive with a score, en route to a 26-6 win. But Booty looked past the final score, saying the game raised almost $600,000 for the three charities, which include the Capitol Police Memorial Fund.
We gave them in the Capitol Police an NFL experience. To play with some pros and to play a football game with the time frame and all that. That's what it's all about. We gave them an NFL experience for a worthy cause.
Harvey and Booty's efforts were not enough to stave off the loss for the lawmakers, but it was all for a good cause. At Audi Field in Washington, Simon Williams, Cronkite News.
And finally, it was 20 years ago today when the Arizona Diamondbacks defeated the New York Yankees to win their only World Series title. The game-winning hit by Luis Gonzalez sealed the first ever major championship won by an Arizona sports franchise. Former team president Rich Dozer looks back fondly on the experiences following the monumental victory.
It was a surreal time. And then, it kept going too, because it just didn't end with the World Series, because the next year you're handing out World Series rings to players, you're designing the World Series ring, which is one of the coolest things, and there was so many little experiences happening.
And that's a wrap on today's Cronkite Sports Report. Rudy and Raven, let's go back to you.
Coming up, Star Wars super fans are starting to gather again for some lightsaber fun. What these types of fan clubs do together when we come back.
We go, lights up. Whoa.
As artists, we conduct our educations in public. You can never know whether it's going to be a success. One just has to risk it.
It's you and the work and the place. It's a very particular relationship.
Here's our lens. Tell us what you think.
Friday night at 9 on Arizona PBS.
What you get from Washington Week that you will not get anywhere else are the best and the brightest reporters from different media companies, and they're able to have a real conversation about things that are happening in Washington and around the country. But it's also a show about issues that are relevant to different communities. How do you think that, as the moderator, I feel this deep responsibility to bring in those other perspectives so that people understand how power and politics impact their daily lives.
Friday nights at 7 on Arizona PBS.
Cronkite News provides students at ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism with the opportunity to gain real-world experience in the newsroom. At Cronkite News, our students produce professional content for audiences by taking on all roles, whether they be reporting, anchoring, producing, or studio production. Each department gives students first-hand professional newsroom experience. For more information, visit cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Your favorite member benefit is getting better and bigger.
This is wonderful.
Over the next year, Passport is adding new shows and doubling the number of episodes for you to stream.
They give us all that they've got.
From your favorite cooking and travel series.
Even the stairs are breathtaking.
To history specials and award-winning documentaries. Better and bigger.
That really is the fun part.
Stream on any device with Passport on the PBS Video app.
A not so long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, a global pandemic forced the Jedi Knights into hiding. Our Los Angeles Bureau reporter Jordan Moffat ventured out to find out what they've been up to.
While the end of the battle against COVID-19 is yet to be seen, these Jedi Knights have returned from exile, sparring and sharpening their lightsaber wielding skills once again.
We are AZ Saber. We are
To put it simply, a mixed martial arts lightsaber fighting club.
The mission of the Star Wars superfans of the AZ Saber Club and others like it: safety, fun, and being one with the Force. Here in a different sector of the galaxy, Los Angeles, Lightspeed Saber fighters compete for bragging rights in a ranking system. It's inspired many local Padawans to grow into Jedi through online training during the pandemic.
I've actually been part of the team that has worked with Kang and some of the higher ups in Lightspeed to design the online training program. So really studying different fencing types, different sword play, and really kind of creating a technical manual of how to do this sport.
But you don't have to be some martial arts prodigy to be one of the best. Tom DiMartino's just a fan of Star Wars, but as he ignites his Sith blade, he becomes the 6th best fighter in the nation.
That's the great thing about this community is you can bring absolutely nothing to the table and just pick up things over time like I did. You get people who have kendo training, you have people who have Eskrima training.
Lightspeed Saber's next qualifier will take place on November 13th as they prepare for the regional championship in December. In Los Angeles, Jordan Moffitt, Cronkite News.
Congratulations to DiMartino, who took home first place for the first time in his Jedi training as a lightsaber fencer at the October qualifier.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.